What's up, guys, and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football show in the world. This is the Group of Five, guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need everybody's help to do that. We need you to hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five, guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating, leave a comment, leave a review. Most importantly, share it with your family and friends. On this episode of Inside Drill, Marshall head coach Tony Gibson, we finally get him on the show. Been trying to do it since he got the job. We finally were able to work it out. Going to talk a lot about Marshall history, tradition, and his philosophy going forward. Hope you enjoy the show. All right, guys. Now, this guest today is one. This came a little bit of a family affair. We had friends of the family, and then even Coach's daughter pushed him to come on. So we want to welcome new Marshall head coach Tony Gibson to the Group of Five, guys. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me, man. It's an honor to be on with you two, and look forward to it.
Coach, now I'm just going to get started right off the bat. You go into a situation where they obviously won the conference a year ago, but I mean, I don't know how many guys are even left from that roster, but you got a fan base with high expectations, a university with a ton of tradition and expectations. What's kind of your message to the team, to the fan base, and how do you manage those expectations this year?
Yeah, anytime that you take a new job and really any job that you get into in college football, you want it to be a place that cares. And as we know, Marshall has a story like no other in this town and the state. Embraces our program and again, great tradition, won at every level they've ever been at. And that's our goal, to continue to do that. I didn't come here to win games. I came here to win championships, and that's our goal. But going back to the roster management, it was a tough 30-some days of when I got here from when school started to try to rebuild this thing. And when we show up, counting our freshmen are not here yet that will be here with us in June, we'll have 62 new faces on this in the team room and in this program.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot to replace in 1 year. But being, a West Virginia native, talk a little bit about your just coaching journey and your lead up to Marshall and how you think that's going to benefit you, especially in the recruiting process.
Yeah, it's anytime that you can sell something that you really truly believe in and sell something at a place that I want to be at and our staff. I mean, it was really big for me when we hired this staff that had Marshall connections or connected to the state of West Virginia. And I think 8 of our full-time staff members out of like 23 people are tied to this state and this school. So that was really, really important for me. To be able to do that. So, expectations are always high here. You walk out in our hallway and, won AA national championships. They got into the MAC, won the championship there, Conference USA championships. And then Coach Huff and his staff last year won the Sun Belt. So every level, every conference, Marshall's been a winner, and we're going to continue that.
Coach, you mentioned winning the Sun Belt. It was such a weird situation where it was obviously a championship team a year ago, but I think most people kind of knew there was going to be a change. When did you know, or at least have the idea that this Marshall job's coming open and I want it? And then kind of walk us through that process a little bit.
Yeah. So, obviously, anybody that interviews for jobs anymore, there are no secrets in college football anymore. There's way too many things that happen, too many people talk. And when we got to the point, late November and things started coming down, what the job cycle and talking to my agent and different people, obviously this is always one I've had my eyes on. And when this opportunity came, I jumped on it, got on a Zoom call with President Brad Smith and our AD Christian Spears. And then we visited a little bit in Raleigh and it all happened. So, but, I had some other things going at the time and, was not going to commit to taking another job until I knew for sure this one what was going to happen. So this is the one I wanted, and this is a special place and with special people. So obviously this one for me was a no-brainer.
Now, every coach has a different, culture and identity they want to instill in their team. What would you say that culture and identity is? And with 60 plus new guys on the roster, how do you go about implementing that?
Yeah, well, actually, that's the easy part because these guys are all coming in with me and my staff. So, we want to create what I want to create for our kids here is I want us to love one another and play for your teammate on your left and your right. And it's not about any single person. It's not about me. It's not about our staff. It's about all of us together and continue to build of what the past has done here. And we have a little mantra that we're going to long live the brotherhood. And that means a lot here. Honor the past and play for each other and play for those guys and play for, again, our story of what Marshall is. So, and also, I want a team that has the eat off the floor mentality. And I want tough people. People that don't fit in the culture of this program are soft and lazy. They will not fit here. I want people that are going to be tough. We're going to coach them hard, and we're going to love them harder. And, we're going to have guys that will put their face in the fan, and we want to smack people in the mouth every Saturday. I don't care who we're playing, where we're playing. That's going to be the mentality that we play with. And if they can't fit into that culture, they're not going to be here. We'll have 62 new more guys next year. But we're going to have tough kids. And I want people – what I want people, when they play us, to never want to schedule us again if it's an out-of-conference deal. And, just because, wow, that was a physical football team.
I love that.
Coach, you bring up a good point, especially in the non-conference and people not wanting to schedule certain teams. For you as a West Virginia guy, and now you're in the Sun Belt, how important are these regional non-conference games, specifically Marshall versus West Virginia and games like that?
Yeah, the school up north, that's what we call it in this building right now. So, but this makes sense. They can't hide behind the fact in Morgantown that, well, we're not going to come play at Marshall because you can only hold 38,000 in your stadium. Well, they're going to Ohio University this year in Athens that holds 25. So what's the excuse now? And, well, what do we have to gain from this game? Everything. It's enough. You're either going to win it or lose it, but we're going to keep the money in the state of West Virginia. And the fan bases are both passionate. Why we don't play that game every year, I have no idea. And I'm trying to do my best to get it on the schedule. We have an opening in 27. We want to kick it off. We'll come to Morgantown that first year. We'll play them wherever they want to play if they'll play us. And that's important for us, our fan base. Obviously their fan base, I don't know their thoughts on it, but I think we need to make it happen for a lot of reasons. And again, the number one reason is that the state, the people want to see it. And again, let's keep this money in the state of West Virginia.
How much say, how many of those conversations do you have as the coach with the AD or the president or the league, and where you can push for that game, especially with, now the schedules are made, you probably got games already set for 2032. So how much input do you have in that regard?
A lot. The AD and I and the president, we all have the same vision with this game being played, and they're doing their part as well. Don't know where it's going to go, but we're going to keep pushing. I've had a couple state senators come in and sit in my office a few weeks ago, and they said, "Coach, how can we help?" I said, "Get the West Virginia game on the schedule. That's a big help for us." So, but we'll see where it goes, and we're going to keep trying. The worst thing they can do is say no, and then we're just going to ask again and see where it goes.
Yeah, and you mentioned that school up north, and every coach has a different philosophy on transfer portal, high school recruiting. how, what's the sell for you, trying to get kids, local kids to come to Marshall, and how do you view the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think obviously, in the state of West Virginia, you have WVU, you have us, and then you have a lot of Division II schools. So, probably every year you're going to have 6, 7, 8 guys that are Division I caliber players. And what we're going to do is sell our program. I mean, again, we have a story like nobody else's. We're the winningest team in the 90s in all of college football. Great tradition. Some great players that played here in the past. We're going to have a first-round draft pick this year, Mike Green. So we have a lot of good stuff to sell to our recruits, and we're gonna make sure we take care of home first. And home also doesn't just include the state of West Virginia. We border Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania's close. The DMV, Virginia, where we're going to pound those areas and make sure that we keep local people here the best we can. And then obviously we're going to go south. We're going to hit Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, all those schools where we have guys and have gotten guys in the past. So that's kind of our recruiting footprint on what we're going to do. And then the portal for Group of 5 schools especially, I think is very important, because once we develop good players, then we have to fight off the Power 4 schools of coming in and plucking our guys. So, we're going to have to go in, and ideally what I would like to do is sign anywhere from 12 to 14 high school kids a year and then fill holes with our portal guys that we need. And the thing that we're going to target in the portal, just like we did this year, who do we have prior relationships with? Is it a kid that we recruited in the past? Is it a kid that is from the state that wants to come back home, that understands our traditions and what we're about? And, I think we have to target the right guy. And we want guys that want to be at Marshall and not just come here. We're never going to be able to pay a kid $1 million to come be our starting quarterback. We want them to come for the right reasons and be able to fit into our culture and what we're selling.
Coach, you mentioned guys like Mike Green. Have you had the opportunity to talk to, obviously him, I'm sure he's still been around, but some of the legends, right? The Randy Moss, Chad Pennington, Byron Leftwich. And have you had a chance to talk with those guys? And are we going to see them around the program a bit?
Yeah, that's my goal, to get them all back. And, they have a very special thing here. It's called the Herb Brothers for the football alumni. We have a big weekend coming up for our spring game. I've had to talk to Chad a few times. Have not got to talk with Randy. Obviously, he's been going through a lot. We're trying to get him back as much as we can. And Byron has sent messages through Coach Pruitt and a couple guys, whatever we need. But I've heard from a ton of former players and guys that this place means so much to them. And they're willing to help us any way they can, whether it's raising money, coming and supporting us, buying tickets, whatever it is that we need. They've been willing to do it. And we're going to continue to build those relationships and get as many guys back as we can.
Coach, we know you're a defensive-minded guy in the past, but what's the offense going to look like for the Herd this fall?
Yeah, I want to, again, going back to kind of our culture, I want an offense, that can run the football. We want to run the ball first, control the clock the best we can. It's going to be different variations of tempo. We're not always going to be just really fast. And again, I want a physical brand on both sides of the ball. And I think we can do that. And Rod Smith, our offense coordinator, does a great job. He's been around a lot of great offensive minds. And, he has a great plan together. When he was the offensive coordinator at Illinois with our O-line coaches here, those two were together at Illinois and led the Big Ten in rushing that year. So, and obviously we're going to incorporate the quarterback run game, the +1 run game with that. And we're going to have to throw the ball, and we want to throw the ball, but we're going to be a run-first mentality, definitely on offense.
Coach, before we get into it, we got a couple questions from Twitter before we get into that. And I think this did come from Twitter too, but anybody so far since you've been on campus that's kind of somebody we should be looking out for this fall? Maybe you don't want to say, because maybe you don't want anybody up north trying to convince somebody to get in the portal, but anybody we should be looking out for?
Yeah, sometimes I think what happens, as we all know in football, it's the quarterback, it's the wide receiver, it's the running back. But I tell you what I really like about our football team right now is our two fronts, our offensive front and our defensive front. I think we're built a little different than I think most Group of 5 schools. Size-wise, we have an offensive tackle that's 6'9", 370 pounds. McDuffie he was a transfer from Hampton. We have Jalen Slappy, that was a returning guy here that's played a lot of football. That had a bunch of Power 4 schools messing with him in the offseason and, and stayed with us. So, and then on defensive line, we had Katron Evans, a 335-pound nose guard that's athletic, can move. So I'm really, really impressed with our fronts right now, and hopefully continue to get them better and become one unit. And so those guys are doing a really good job. One of our wide receivers, Tone Harmon, that was at Mississippi State, he had a really good day on Tuesday. Had some nice plays, and so we're excited about some guys. And the quarterback battle is going to go on. We have 3 right now competing for that, and see where it's at here at the end of spring and going into fall camp.
Love it. Well, got 2 Twitter questions for you. The first one comes from Dominic at Dom_Alexander1. Says Coach Gibson has regularly used a 3-3-5 defense. Hasn't been much of an issue. He's referring to Marshall's defense in the past. Just wants to know what's the defense going to look like this year at Marshall?
Yeah, I think that again, Coach Morrison and the staff on defense right now and doing a really good job of implementing not just what I've done in the past, but kind of ideas from the room and build this thing into Marshall's defense. It's not going to be NC State's defense or West Virginia's defense or Arizona or Michigan. It's going to be Marshall's defense. And, kind of put all of our ideas together and learn from the past. What didn't we like? What did we like? And let's put all this thing. And we're going to be structured out of a 3 down front. Obviously, that's my background since 2002. I've been in this. So, we're just going to continue to build it and add a few things that some of the other coaches bring.
Anytime you got a 335-pound defensive tackle, that'll help with a 3 down front just a little bit.
No doubt.
Coach,
I'm sorry, it will be an aggressive defense where that mentality is never going to leave. We're gonna get after people, and we have our zero pressures and our man stuff, so we're going to be aggressive for sure with it.
One of the this question was asked a few times, I think, Jeff, but the one we've got from Go Herd, Please Don't Die is his Twitter. He said, we would like to know if he gets Sheets coffee every morning or if he shakes it up and diversifies the routine.
So the Sheets coffee started actually in Raleigh. So that was the gas station I passed every morning on the way to work. And so would pop in and get my Sheets. And then when I moved back to West Virginia, right outside of my neighborhood, there's a Sheets. So I hit that Sheets every morning, unless I could find a Little General somewhere in between, because a good friend of mine, Greg Darby, owns the Little Generals in the state. So anytime I have a Little General, I will pop in there as well if it's on my way. But right now it's been Sheets every morning. Same coffee,
I was going to say, you strike me as just a black coffee guy. Is that what we do?
Yeah, well, that may be a little bit of Splenda in there every once in a while, but most of the time, just get some Colombian coffee and it's all good.
And just 1 cup a day, or like, Dan Campbell of the Lions, he's like, what is he, like 7 espresso shots in his coffee, something crazy like that?
Yeah, I'm usually 1 a day. Just try to get a large.
There you go.
And go from there.
That's fair. Well, Jeff, you got anything else for Coach?
I don't. I mean, we've been trying to get up to Huntington the last couple of years, so this may be the year we need to get up there. Where's a couple local spots if we get up there that we gotta try and eat and go check out?
Yeah. So the first place is Scratches. That is and I ask people in Huntington all the time. They say, "Where have you eaten at, Coach? What do you like?" Scratches is a place. Now you have to get there. It's like 11 to 3 is their lunch, and after that, this food stops, and then it's just all alcohol from there. But you have to ring a doorbell to get in. It's a great place though. So good food. Then you could stay after and have you a few drinks. We have so many good restaurants. Davis's Place is a great place. That's where I do my radio show. Good food, good bar area. So Huntington is surprisingly great food, a lot of great places. And then, for the dinner meal and all that, we have 21 at Frederick Steakhouse that is really, really good. So, but you guys will be impressed. So I'd love to have you on our Remember the 75 game against JMU November 8th. If you could make that one, obviously you can see what Huntington's all about. Visit the fountain with ourselves, the team, and I think it'd be a special weekend for you guys up here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make that. Yeah,
make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, man, we can't thank you enough for coming on. Like I said, this was a highly requested one. Your fan base was, as soon as the offseason, well, as soon as you got the job, it was you got to get Coach Gibson on. So thank you for doing that. I know you're super busy up there with spring ball, but we'll catch up with you later on in the fall.
All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch, and go Herd.
Thanks, Coach. Dude's intense, Jeff. I'm a little intimidated.
I mean, I felt the exact same thing. Not only like intense, but at the same time, when he was talking about what he wants his.
Oh yeah.
I was ready to run through this brick wall right here. It's like, let's go.
Well, and we knew last year. I mean, well, again, not to pat myself on the back. We knew last year about that front, especially on defense, how physical and good they were going to be. But you keep that mentality and then you just turn it up a notch. But it's funny. Like we talk to the coaches and to players, and sometimes you get people on here that are not. They're just not like, I don't know, friendly or whatever. And it's not like that. Like he definitely doesn't come across as like not a nice guy, but just a guy that's about business, about ball.
He's a ball coach.
I mean, buddy, you want to talk about if they embody his mentality. I mean, my God,
that's exactly what I was going to say. If they can take on the persona of their head coach.
Yeah.
And Marshall, I feel like Marshall's they've already kind of been that way. You know what I mean? Like hard-nosed, physical. It's never an easy out game. I don't care who they're playing. So excited to see what he's going to bring to the table and continue to build, a very, very historic program. I mean, he touched on it a bunch, and we got to get out there.
I know.
November 8th. That's like the week after my birthday.
I know.
I mean,
well, and
they're be a couple months in from the new baby, so maybe you'll be able to get out of the road.
Yeah, I'll get that. Maybe I'll get the permission on that one. But and theoretically, that game will have a lot of implications too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I said last week about James Madison. So, you're looking at November. If James Madison is the team that I think they're going to be, I mean, November 8th? What is that, week 10? Week 11? Something like that?
Something like that. It's right after they travel to Coastal.
I mean, according to my predictions, James Madison will be like 8-0, 9-0 right there.
Potentially ranked.
Potentially ranked, a top 25, top 20 program at the time.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I had that as one of my biggest conference games in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, I think you did.
Just because it's going to be a big game, and anytime you got to go to Huntington, I mean that. And I didn't realize at the time it was that weekend. So it's going to be a packed house.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one thing I want to say too is it was such a weird situation at Marshall, right? Because it was like, I mean, they're like 10 weeks into the year. They're the favorite, or at least one of the favorites to win the conference last year. But then everybody's still talking about Huff being gone. But then everybody also, the Marshall fan base was like, yeah, we already got our guy. It's Tony Gibson. Like it was like already,
like
you know,
in place.
It was like already done. Huff to Southern Miss. And again, it's not like Huff went and took a quote unquote promotion. You know what I mean? He stayed in conference, went to Southern Miss. And when do they play, by the way?
They do not this year.
Wow. Come on, Sunbelt.
Yeah,
we got to be better than that.
That's a miss.
We have got to look at storylines before we make this schedule. Huge whiff.
We got to take a play out of WWE's playbook and really just dive into the storylines. You want to amp up viewership. You know 100%. What I mean? You gotta look at this stuff.
100%. You book Southern Miss at Marshall. It got to be that way. It can't be Marshall at Southern Miss. You book Southern Miss at Marshall. You put it on a weekend or you put it on a Thursday night. You get, well, it won't be Dan Mullen anymore, but you get Matt Berry up there. You get the group of 5 guys up there. We do a big thing. But either way, I say all that to say James Madison at Marshall. It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
But man, it's, Marshall is a program, right? So they're never going to be, I don't ever consider anything like a rebuild with a program like that. And again, we talked about the P4s coming in there and plucking guys, but the selling point is, hey, Mike Green is going to be a first round pick, more than likely out of Marshall, if not second round. I mean, he's going to be a first day, second day pick at worst. Arguably the best wide receiver of all time, Randy Moss, is a Marshall guy. Chad Pennington, Byron. I mean, you have some of the most iconic players and iconic moments outside of the big one, the plane crash and all that stuff. You have some of those. Leftwich getting carried down the field by his linemen. I mean, this is a program that's got a brand, it's got recognition, it's got history, it's got tradition. And man, if you can get a staff to stay there and a core group of players to come in and develop and stay, I mean, you got a chance.
No question.
But can't thank Coach enough for coming on. We can't thank everybody enough for kind of helping make it happen. Look, guys, if you're a friend of a family member of a coach that you want on, or you are a family member of a coach, slide in our DMs, talk to your friend or family. I mean, we'll make it happen. We're trying to get, like Jeff's been saying, we're trying to get every single coach or a coach from every single group of 5 program on in 2025. So we got a long way to go, but we've got, what are we at, like 5 now for this year? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're rolling, and then we'll get them after spring ball's over. They'll have a little more time, so we should be able to get a couple of them on, per week. But again, can't thank Coach Gibson enough. Can't thank the Marshall folks enough. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple months.
No doubt. Got to get up to Huntington.
Got to do it.
That's
all we got for you guys.
What was the place he said? Scratchies?
Scratches. And then he said, what was it? The steakhouse was 21 Fredericks, something like that. I mean, Sheetz is a gas station. It sounds very exciting. Sheetz is like Buc-ee's before Buc-ee's. It's just up north. Sheetz and Wawa, those kind of things, kind of like that. But they also do, full transparency, I've been to some Sheetz in Pennsylvania before, where my mom's family is from. They got a good sub, Jeff. They got a good sandwich at Sheetz. They got a good.
Let's go check it out.
Yeah. They got a good sub sandwich. I think most of them have a drive-through too. I'm fairly certain, but Marshall fans can correct me in the chat and in the whatever, roast me, whatever. But that's all we got for you guys on this episode of Inside Drill with Tony Gibson, Marshall head coach. Make sure you hit subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. Follow all the social platforms. You can interact with us on there. Slide in Jeff and I's DMs. We're pretty active. I like to think we're pretty damn responsive. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching and listening.